What's poppin'? Ready to hear the unfiltered truth? Then don't miss Taboo Talk with Deejay Alridge, the podcast where no topic is off limits. From comedy to true crime, beauty to sports, and everything in between, we say what others won't. Stream it live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on YouTube and Facebook. It's bold. It's real. It's Taboo Talk. Follow now and turn your midweek into a mind-blowing mix of laughs, facts, and fire conversation. Taboo Talk is sponsored by Straight Vybz and distributed by Brydens, Guyana.
All right, guys, my name is Deejay Alridge. Welcome down to another episode of Taboo Talk. And today we have a very interesting story. No other than my friend. We've been friends for years, and trust me, the type of job that this guy does, I know nothing about it. So I had to invite him to the podcast. Welcome down, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Tell us a little about yourself before we go any further.
All right, so for those that don't know, I am Darnell Douglas. I am the proprietor of Picture Perfect Photography and Cinematography. So if you're not following me, head on over to Darnell Douglas, Picture Perfect Photography and Cinematography on Facebook, Instagram at DD_Picture Perfect. So I'll take some free advertising on this show.
Yeah, for sure. It's free. You can do anything. It's free.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys. So before we go any further, I must remind you that this podcast is sponsored by Brydens, and I must say that not only Brydens but Straight Vybz, and Straight Vybz is distributed by Brydens Guyana. If you want that order in bulk, definitely you can get over there. And also Straight Vybz is available in all supermarket nationwide. All right. So now you mentioned that you were into you mentioned that earlier you're into photography. That is, well, I know you were a teacher first, right? But I never knew that you had a passion for photography. Where did that came from?
I've always liked pictures. Since I was a child, growing up, I got an aunt, in fact. She used to take photographs of us as children. Grow up, we started to get mobile camera phones. So we started there. And it was 2017. In 2017, my now wife reached out to me. She was like, listen, your birthday coming up. What you want for your birthday? I don't too fussy about anything,
Yes,
so she's like, huh?
Yes,
I don't play PS. I don't play games. She's like, I don't ever know what to get you for your birthday because it's not a birthday, man. I don't want gifts. I could get whatever I need. Yeah. So she's gonna figure out something and surprise me. So she told me she got my gift, but she's gonna bring it for Christmas when she comes to Guyana. Got to Guyana. Was a digital camera. She said she figured that I always liked photos. Listen, on my mobile phone, I used to have very good photographs coming out of that. So she, let me see what you could do with a professional camera. It was intended for me to take photos of, we were expecting a child on the way, my first son.
Yeah.
And she didn't have memories, photographic memories of her childhood because she lost a lot of her photos in a fire. So she don't have any pictures of herself as a child. So we wanted to give this child photographic memories going through life. So that was the main intention, to photograph this child. A week after she brought it, I sat down and I told her, you know what? I can turn this thing into a business. The next day, I came up with the name. The next week we launched. I had some models, as I used to do a little bit of modeling back in the days.
Yeah.
So I had some model friends come through. We launched for shoot. Incredible. From then on, sky was the limit.
So the inspiration basically came from that early childhood stage, taking pictures, and then a birthday came about, and then you just say, let me present you a camera. So everything fitting perfectly there.
Yeah, you might want to say. And to me, listen, I always knew I had a little passion for it, but I never saw it as a career. And like you mentioned earlier, my background is really in education.
Yeah, for sure. Because I never know that when I heard or see you on social media taking pictures and stuff, I was like, my friend is into photography. Like, I never see take a picture yet in his life, But then as the thing grow, as the business grow, it's like, Yeah, this is it. And then I start see you blowing up on social media. Picture perfect, picture perfect, picture. You know, and so far I must commend you because most of the shots I'm seeing, I can put you to, I can actually weigh you amongst the top 5 photographers in Guyana.
Top 5. I might take umbrage to that.
No, I'm gonna say top 5. I'm gonna say top 5. I'm gonna say top 5. Right? I'm gonna say top 5. But you know, what are some of the challenges in photography though?
The challenges, I'd like to highlight one in particular in being that everybody feels that they're a photographer now. Yeah. Since the advent of camera phones, everybody feel they're a photographer. Yeah. So a little bit of the challenge. I know I had a friend recently came to visit in Trinidad, and he saw me and I was like, hey, I'll come and check you out at the beach. We went to the beach, take some pics. He said, Doggy, I can get these same pics from my phone. I said, no, champ, it's not the same quality. So you have that on one end. The respect that should be given to the creative industry in Guyana especially is another challenge. Persons view a lot of people in the creative space as persons who could not have excel at academics or whatever. So they automatically think that you went into a skill set sort of because you did not have the qualifications to maybe go into what we deem as jobs, like the teachers and them sort of thing. So we have that challenge. What else? Remuneration as well. Persons don't think that what we give to them is valued at that price that we give it. Mind you, we don't overly charge. Neither do we present a figure to persons that is consistent with where photography is done in other parts of the world. It's not even close.
Lovely. Before we go any further, I must shout out right now we're streaming from this podcast is streaming live from Stovetop Restaurants and Bar. And you know, definitely Stovetop, we have that amazing taste when it comes to all those Creole foods. You know, and definitely they can cater for any event that you have. And they're located in Charlotte Street. So definitely you can check them out. We were talking earlier about challenges in the photography industry. And something you mentioned is smartphone. The other night, my friends and I, we were on the seawall, and a guy came up to us and asked us, hey, a quick snap? And no, I wasn't interested then, right? And I would never be interested, sad to say, right? Here why. It's good to say right now that iPhone have the smartest camera in the world, right? Given the fact that iPhone has the smartest...
Mobile.
Okay, yeah. Given the fact that iPhone has the smartest camera. Now, doesn't this put photography on a competitive streak? Because, for example, why would I pay for a photo in the streets when I have a phone that can do that? And for example, we talk about editing. There are a lot of apps we can download to get that quality now. Isn't that a challenge in the photography industry?
It's a challenge because of the misconception. Okay. Not so much of a challenge because the iPhone camera is competing with let's say Canon R5, which is like almost $1 million.
Yeah.
And there's the camera alone. You still gotta get a body. You still gotta get a lens to go with that camera. So you're looking at a lens like about 2,000, 1,500 US. You see the price that we're dealing with?
Yeah.
In your head, an iPhone, let's say iPhone 14 is how much? I'm not too favorite price. iPhone 14 price
300,000.
300K.
Yeah.
There's no way you're gonna tell me something valued at 300,000 is superior to something that's valued in excess of $1 million. Now, here is where the difference between these two commodities exists. iPhone cameras, people can say, oh, you get nice blurry images that replicate somewhat of what a camera does. But that bokeh in photography, it's called bokeh. That blurriness, you see the back. So for those that don't know, so that is actually called bokeh. Okay. What iPhone does, and what a lot of these cameras do now, is that they replicate the bokeh effect. But they don't do it to perfection. Bokeh is a natural thing that comes from the lens, but camera phones, they give an artificial bokeh. If you take a photo on portrait mode on your iPhone, I'm sure you're gonna see all the edges of you here. You're gonna see part of your ears gone blurred because the AI, the technology in that camera phone is trying to replicate bokeh, and it doesn't do as good of a job as a professional camera. Is the reason we're sitting here doing this podcast right now. And the camera is a professional camera, not
another phone. But I was to actually shoot with a phone, you know. I was to actually shoot with a phone. But we talk about, just when we talk about the gears and the prices, right? Let us just say, for example, a camera costs about 5,000 US, right? In photography now, someone might reach out to you for a shoot, and then they might be like, you know, you discuss pricing with them, and then they might be like, why is this so high? Do you guys charge to make back that camera money, or do you guys just charge for services?
Listen, of course, it is a business that we're involved in.
Yeah.
And with businesses, you run the risk of not making money. So what you do as a business person is that you are going to make structures in line with your business so that you can make money, especially making back that money that you would have paid for whatever equipment that you're going to use in this business. So of course, absolutely, we are charging not just for the equipment. Of course, now, I'm not necessarily want to say that persons, anybody could go and buy a 5,000 US dollar camera. The reality is it is not.
Yeah,
but we do have the accessibility of having these equipment. So I could come to you and I could say, well, let me some money, I want to get into photography, I want to buy this camera. You could do that. That's just the camera. That's one part of it.
Yeah.
But how competent are you to run that camera? You know the settings? No, you know the settings. Yeah. You know how to shoot? No, you know how to. Do you know how to direct? You know how to direct? Do you know how to edit? You know how to edit? Do you know which software to edit with? So there's a lot of other components that make up this business that persons only tend to factor in maybe one or two that general public knows about. They don't know about all the hours you would spend doing edits. And listen, I made a post sometime on social media that, you know, some persons took it the wrong way, especially persons in the industry took it the wrong way. Because I'm getting to that.
Right.
Because that post highlighted persons who are not necessarily doing a lot of the work that is supposed to be done in photography. That post was that there are about less than 10 photographers in the whole of Guyana. The whole of Guyana, less than 10 photographers that actually know how to retouch and retouch properly. That's a key editing.
I saw that post, but did you get some bashing for that post as well?
Absolutely, by persons who thought that they know more than me, and persons who were offended by the post. Let me make that clear. Persons who were offended by the post. Listen,
this is TabooTalk.
Listen. I understand that in this industry and in many creative industries as well too, we have an ego complexity where persons feel that they are better than somebody or who is lesser than me. I mean, it's a human nature of us to compete. We get it. But we should not have that projected to make it seem like we got a problem with somebody. Hey, we might want a Range Rover. Yeah. I know I want a Range Rover. But I see a man drive past there with a Range Rover. I can't envy the man for the Range Rover.
No, never.
I gotta work hard to get to the Range Rover.
I know.
You see me?
Never.
So, so yeah, it's things like that. I mean, photography is a skill set, especially in Guyana, this part of the world, where we don't necessarily have to have a certification to validate that we are such. Like we would have to go to law school that art to be a lawyer.
But there is photography courses happening now. Those courses, is it to get you in line so that you can know how to shoot, you know, something around that?
I'm not at liberty to say too much about other photography courses. Like I mentioned earlier, my field is in education. I have planned photography modules for different organizations. I've taught at different organizations for photography, to which I don't have a certificate for, but I'm planning to have that done. I'm looking to pursue a degree actually in photography. But I have been teaching photography to persons who have been to institutions who are offering photography.
Because that was my next question. Like you mentioned, you want a diploma in photography, but what is it teaching you that you already know? Is it like, because I mean, you're in the business. You're in the business a while now, and certain thing a university would you would learn from a university. I mean, over the years, you would develop those skill set, and your mind would say, well, when you sit down and you talk to yourself, when you're doing editing, you say, I should have really done this, and I should have really done this. Like you actually learn over the years, but you still need that that diploma from that university?
It's a degree actually.
Yeah, a degree. Sorry.
So again, I'm gonna use a similar analogy like the iPhone against the professional camera. Valuing in this scenario, I'm valuing more time than a price point. So you're gonna take about 3 to 4 years to finish a degree program.
Yeah.
Courses in Guyana that offer photography are probably between 3 to 6 months. If I don't know it for sure, but I would imagine it's about 3 to 6 months. And it's a certificate you're getting. What they teach you is very basic. When persons that take my course privately, they would allude to the fact that persons did gold scholarship program and did photography. And what I'm teaching them is not necessarily completely different from what they would have learned there, but it opens them up to a new perspective, a new knowledge, a new content of information now. And so you see that there's a void in meeting the demands of photographers who would need that theoretical aspect of the skill.
And speaking about that, do you follow any photographer, like any other top photographer? Do you follow these guys and to see like what they're doing or something to learn from or so?
I wouldn't necessarily say I do follow guys working locally, and let me shout out to a lot of very good photographers in the country. We have. I'm not gonna go on calling names.
I'm gonna tell you top 5. I told you earlier. There's a top 5 bracket. There's a top 5 bracket. But there's a top 5 bracket.
For anybody in Guyana to say that I know and it's not to say. Let me make this disclosure. I don't see anybody as a competition to me, and I mean that in the most humblest way. It's not that I'm looking at you to say you're not better than me or I am. No, that's not my competition. My competition is my last project that I did. I'm trying to see how I better that. I think I'm getting there somewhat, and if I had to scale myself, I may not think that highly of myself as persons might perceive me to be, because I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to the art. But I do follow other persons' work. Got some people from France that I follow. I have a mentor back in Trinidad that I'm closely feeding off, taking information from him. So there are persons that I'm going to look at. It is an art. And so what you want to do, you want to not necessarily copy somebody's work, but your starting point should be somebody that you emulate. And what you do from that position, you see what they're doing and try to build upon that so that you get better. And you really and truly then hone into your own individuality and could be identified then as a brand. I know you're in Guyana, most times in Trinidad. Where does your clientele fall? A lot of my clientele do fall in Guyana. I've had international or regional projects as well that I've done, but majority of my clientele is from Guyana. And
back to Trinidad. How? I mean, you've exposed yourself to the regional market in Trinidad. How would you class photography in Guyana versus Trinidad? Are they way ahead of us, or tell me what is different? What's different in the party capital in the world, Trinidad? What's different?
The difference, the one difference I can tell you off the bat for sure is the saturation of photographers in Trinidad compared to in Guyana. Don't get me wrong. Since the time I've started in 2018, there have been maybe twice as many photographers that I've noticed have come into the game in Guyana. In Trinidad, I am not very social in Trinidad in terms of getting around. I don't know a lot of people.
But I've seen you.
I've done work. Yes, I work with. Damn, they're gonna hit me for this here. I work with Tribe. At Trinidad Carnival.
How was that experience? It's
been great, man.
I saw you couldn't even focus in some of them. In some of the clips, you couldn't even focus. I said, "What my friend is that?" But like the initial, what I wanted to know, it's a different market from Guyana.
I do follow a few guys in Trinidad that I'm closely related to in terms of working with them in certain projects, especially Carnival. So that's as much as I know. I know just those persons. Those guys do very good work. Their niche is different. Of course, you have Carnival. Carnival's a big thing in Trinidad.
Yeah, party capital, man.
A lot of photography in Trinidad, and a lot of photographers rather in Trinidad are event photographers. They align themselves with lots of parties, carnival, events in general.
Yeah.
I am not that type of photographer. I know you probably don't see me around at parties doing shit because that's not my personality. My personality is not to turn up to you at a party. Hey,
give my shooter.
You need a picture? Yeah. A mom might down there with the other girl.
Yeah.
And so you know, I really want to, and I can't look to take candid shots of people. I just feel some type of way about it. I don't have that personality to go to person. So I don't do events unless they are corporate events. Persons expecting you to take photos here.
So you prefer working with corporate than being on the outside?
I mean, they pay more, so.
Yeah, but isn't corporate difficult to work with?
In terms of them being very,
because corporate very picky, and stingy, but they want the best of everything. I think this is worldwide. This is no secret. No secret.
The model of business, and I think the Chinese do it very well, in that they maximize profits and minimize expenses. All corporates looking to do that. So when they book you up, they're looking to tell you, oh, we got a project that we want you to do. We budget is this. And if your budget is lower than that, you can't get me. And I would be happy to refer them to person.
But in cases like that, a corporate company, their budget is this, but they want so much. Wouldn't you take the work? Would you take, because most persons might look at it like exposure. Hey, I'm working for a big company. I'm working for a big company. Hoping and thinking that big company is going to give them some recommendation to another big company.
That might work for somebody who's new into photography.
Okay,
I'm into year 8. Mm-hmm. I am seasoned. I am relatively known. And so I don't need to pull on that strength of exposure right now. Okay. I pull on the strength of what I have done before. I pull on the strength of the quality of work, the professionalism that I deliver. Mm. I pull on the strength of my personality and my ability to go into meetings there when we have negotiations. And I can hold firm to saying that, hey, this is my charge and this is what we do and this is what I'm producing. Mm-hmm. You might want to pay me this amount, and I could tell you that the expertise that I have, the equipment that I have, the time that I have to use to produce what it is that you want. So
you list not your values there, like this is my value.
I can't give you that for that price.
Makes sense.
Can't give you that for that price.
There's a thing with photography, with photographers, I should say. You might give them a job to do today. Next week I'm gonna get this for you. Okay, next week is my birthday. I want to post these pictures for my birthday. But then you gotta be running behind them. Hey, when am I gonna get this file? Oh, next week. And then next week come, it's the same thing over. I mean, you should be guilty of that as a photographer because all them photographers, they're guilty of it. Now, how would you handle, or have you ever handled a situation like this before? Probably you lost a file for somebody, or, you missed a date where it was very important to that person to upload or share,
There is a very bad misconception in the service industry. The persons think that you offer a service and you are to get it right perfectly every single time. And I'm here to dispute that claim to persons, that misconception to persons that.
But being tenure in that industry.
No.
Being tenure in that industry, you would make some mistake here, 1 year, 2. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and going on the road. You are
still likely to make those mistakes because at the end of the day, you are human. At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that can happen. I'll give you some scenarios with me. I have had instances where I've delivered images late, like to the point where it was like months late. Like I had a wedding client, very, very patient with me. I had some issues with my computer at the time. Went down, had to get a new one, had to get it repaired, all the works. And what would tend to happen at that point? So let's say I have your job to do, and I might have had, in the span of maybe 2 weeks, I had maybe 10 to 15 other projects that I have to do. Let's say during that time, my system went down, but I'm still doing shoots. I then have a backlog of 10 to 15 projects that I have to do. Some be it weddings, so where you have lots of footage to have to go to and call. And then you have other creative works that they probably do a birthday shoots, event, what have you. So you have a backlog there. So at the time now, when your computer is back and up running, I operate on a FIFO system. First in, first out. Yeah. So now I'm trying to have that done.
I see you, FIFO.
Right?
I see you.
Right? So that then translates to a delay in delivery. Not everybody's going to be happy with that, but thankfully I've had some very understanding clients when those things have happened. They haven't happened on any regularity, but I have had instances where that has happened.
But would you say the older folks understand that part of your job versus the person that is new?
Nobody really understands that, because persons believe that they are paying for a service and they ought to get that service with no difficulties, no hindrances. And we live in a world where we're prone to having things go outside of what you plan for. They say you could plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. So there are things that might fall into place that you're not necessarily prepared for, but you have to then still handle them because they fall into the domain of this service that you provided.
Lovely. You know what? I got some more questions for you. We're going to get in depth. I got like a few more questions. We're going to really get in depth. So we're going to take a break. Before we take that break, this podcast is sponsored by Straight Vybz, distributed by Brydens, Guyana. And Straight Vybz, we're in all the supermarkets countrywide. So grab yourself. Right now, we're just advertising the ramping shop for the ladies. We're even sipping some. There's actually our second bottle, but we got some business to tie up. So, later is trouble. You know what I'm saying? But we're also here at Stovetop, streaming live. We're outdoor. We're bringing these stories to you. We're gonna take a break right now. We'll be back.
Somebody else get ice. What's poppin'? Ready to hear the unfiltered truth? Then don't miss Taboo Talk with Deejay Alridge, the podcast where no topic is off limits. From comedy to true crime, beauty to sports, and everything in between, we say what others won't. Stream it live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on YouTube and Facebook. It's bold. It's real. It's Taboo Talk. Follow now and turn your midweek into a mind-blowing mix of laughs, facts, and fire conversation. Taboo Talk is sponsored by Straight Vybz and distributed by Brydens, Guyana.
Ooh, make it wrong. This around and no boring. It make ugly girl look like pretty darling. Straight Vybz still a morning. Come for your uncle, somebody should have warning. When you want to feel real vibes. When you want to feel straight vibes. Somebody else get ice. Make TJ knock knife. Overproof of the bad man tights. And I'm strong with the gal them like. Not Smirnoff ice. Them a lick higher, make gal pussy tight. Them a lick higher, make it thugs them hype. Now we no pop pill, we pop buckle all night. Oh, tell everybody we ready for starting. We charging the shortest. Hey, we are sell down the oh, make it wrong. Available nationwide at all leading supermarkets, bars, and restaurants. Distributed by Brydens, Guyana, whether on the rocks or in a cocktail. Straight Vybz rum can be enjoyed by anyone over 18, that is. 4 flavors, 4 moods, 4 legendary hits in a bottle. Unstoppable, electric, ramping sharp, and fever. This is Vybz Cartel. Big up Guyana and Brydens, Guyana. A one Guyana. Don't. Oh, I'm out. Somebody else get ice.
All right, guys, welcome back to Taboo Talk. And like I mentioned before, we're outside. We're shooting from Stovetop Restaurants and Bars located on Charlotte Street between Cummins and Orange Walk. but it's a bit closer to Cummins. And if you just joined us, we're here with no other than Darnell, Picture Perfect. Am I saying it right? Picture Perfect. You know, we're just having a quick talk about the photography industry and challenges and stuff. Not forgetting, we got a big sponsor. I ain't gonna tell no lie. Straight Vybz. You've had this from, by the way?
This is actually the first time I'm having this from.
Yeah, for sure. And we're having Ramping Shop because we got business to take care of. You understand? Business to take care of. And not forgetting to tell you guys, Straight Vybz is distributed by Brydens, Guyana. And, you know, Straight Vybz is available countrywide. So we were having a really nice discussion earlier. What I want to ask you, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of things right now. In the photography industry, tell me the truth.
Think I'm gonna lie to you?
No,
am I
it's a safe space. It's a safe space, right? Have you ever had a client that flirted with you before?
Yes, it has happened. In the space that you find yourself into, I don't necessarily think I'm a unattractive individual, but having said that, because of your interactions at times with clients, clients might think that you are, leading them on a little bit away when you're actually trying to get the best out of them for the shoot. Now, I go by a rule that if you come to me dressed elegantly, I'm shooting you like Miss Guyana. If you come to me dressed in lingerie or we're doing boudoir, I'm shooting you like a whore.
No, but let me tell you something. But that is everybody does. How much percent of the persons in photography or come to do a nude shoot?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you percentage wise, but there are persons who would reach out to me to do private nude shoots. Like I have persons who have their spouses or significant other living in an area that's far away, out of the country and type things like that. So I've had persons reach out to me to do nude photography for them, just for that person. Obviously, you've never seen them posted on my page for that exact reason. I respect that privacy. Some works I've done that has made it to my portfolio on social media. That was just the client wanting to have them. They didn't have any problem.
But is it hard for you? Like, how do you handle temptation? Because
hard for me, pun intended or not.
All right, well, how you want to put it? I don't want to put you in a position.
So, there, you see, when you do anything for that matter, we as men, I could be wrong, but I just think it this way. We as men, we only produce enough blood in our body to go to one head at a time. And if you are through your viewfinder, whatever it is, and you're looking to be artistic, you're looking to make sure the light is right, your setting on your camera is right, the subject that you're shooting is in the right pose that you want them to, everything is set how you want them to be set because you are creative, you want to create just that vision, then that blood goes here for you to think about how to make sure that this thing is shot the way that you want it.
But with that said, the blood goes here, everything is perfect. No, everything is perfect. Client is in front of you, no shoot time.
Yeah, man.
Now, you're a human being. Some type of emotion must kick in there. Like
you are going to register that, of course, features that you're seeing on that individual. It may be breasts, thighs, what have you. There are features that are attractive to a man. At least a heterosexual male. But you have to have that resolve, that professionalism. And like I mentioned before, we just do not produce enough blood to go to both. You might think that this girl, she can be your type. You might think that this girl is your type. You photographing her. Yeah. If you are serious about your craft, a couple of things that happen there. One, you are going to prioritize ensuring that you shoot it as good as you're supposed to shoot it. And then two, you want to not have that client feel like you are preying upon them. And that's where you get into that comfort zone for clients. being very familiar with you.
How do you go about making clients feeling comfortable in that space?
I would like to think that I'm a very jovial person at times and when need to be. And so I make them comfortable from the jump. Your interaction with me, I don't try to be overly professional when we're on the phone or we're texting, but I do keep a structure about it, but enough that you could feel comfortable coming to me. In person, when we're shooting, depending on what type of shoot, my whole disposition, my demeanor, my personality is gonna suit who and what we're photographing or videoing for that matter. So it's all about understanding from the jump, especially interpersonal relationship. When you meet that person at the shoot session, a lot of persons we encounter for inquiries, we don't meet them face to face. We only meet them on the days of the shoot. So it's important for you when you meet with that person for you to strike this comfort, this level of, hey, I see people too. You don't have to be afraid to be in front of this camera. There are persons come to turn up, I'm shy or I don't know how to pose. And you need to have that ability as a photographer to enable that confidence in that individual that you're shooting. And like I said earlier to you, if you come dressed in an elegant dress, I'm going to shoot you, like use Miss Guyana. You come to me in lingerie, I'm shooting you like a whore because we need to provide that provocative, seductive look for that. And conversely, for shoots that are related to you looking like, I'm just saying, a Miss Guyana type thing. We're shooting you for that. It needs to look the part. So you need to have persons confident. Not every day everybody's in front of a camera. In fact, this might be one of the few times I'm in front of a camera.
But do you, in this case, do you ask somebody's coming to do a shoot? Do you ask them to walk with somebody or they're free? Like, just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side.
I think for me, I'm good at reading persons, you know, their whole, their personality more so. I can tell from the jump if you're somebody who is a little bit shy. So I might want to tell you, feel free to walk with a friend if you like. Sometimes persons come to the studio, and when they come, we encourage them to imbibe. Here, do you want wine? We have whatever drink you might want. You know, it's not just about you coming to have a photo shoot session and we give you back your pictures. It's a whole experience for me. A lot of persons that I have as clients that come to me are of referrals. Somebody did a shoot with me. They like how you do that shoot. Hey, I got referred from Tiffany. I got referred from Samantha. I saw a photo shoot you did with Samantha. That's how we get it. So they are depending on the interaction that they had with somebody that would have shot with us, and they come.
Nice. And in a case of somebody booking a shoot, is it done advance, half advance, and how is it done?
Definitely. I don't turn up to any appointment unless we have one, a deposit, which is no more than 50%, no less than 50% correction, and a contractual arrangement. I don't play that. You're given a contract because I want at the end of the day, when you collect your photos, you have signed on. You see, when you sign, you put your signature at the end of a document. It lets persons know that you have read it, you have understood, and you are in compliance with the terms of this agreement. So yes, my thing is a deposit, a contractual arrangement with persons. I know a lot of photographers don't do it, and
so a lot of but would you say to photographers out there, upcoming photographers, that they should have these things in place?
Absolutely. I believe that there's one way in doing business, and that's the right way. And there are certain rudimentary practices, keeping in accordance with good business ethics and for want of a better term, to save your ass. Right? So somebody's, I remembered in the early, I had a client, kid you not. This is in black and white, telling her how many photos you're gonna have, what's the charge, the whole 9 yards. After the shoot was completed, deliverables were done, and she's gonna tell me, well, I expected this, and the third. And I said, no, that's not what is here that we're doing. This is what we're dealing with here. And so you have to have these structures in place to safeguard persons coming and having a misconception about what it is that you're providing. You can refer to that contract and say, no, we are doing this here. We are here for 1 hour. We are here to provide X amount of photos. We are going to deliver you within this time. That's what we're signing on to, not something in the air that we had or that you thought was what you're going to have. So very important. Persons shouldn't have that.
You know, I mean, we touched on so much things. In a nutshell, it was very informative because a lot of persons like I said, there's a lot of misconception in not only in photography, but photography is in that top bracket. With all the technology that we spoke about and you know the gears and stuff, where do you see yourself the next few years from now as technology changes?
In relation to it benefiting me, I'll touch on that because with the advent of AI especially, a lot of our work has become a little easier in the photography and film industry. We are able to edit a little faster, but of course, with a lot of the new technology that we're having, it still requires you as an individual to know how to use them. There are persons I've seen works from persons that I can look at it and I can tell AI did everything. And it is still up to you to project and influence that human innate ability to create. AI can't do that without that command from you. And AI is only doing as much as you can.
Let me cut you a bit, because I've noticed a lot of photographers, when they do their shoot, they post their work, it kind of look a bit robotic or mannequinish, if that's a word. It look, it's crazy. Like I saw one of my friends, she did a photo shoot.
You didn't send it to me?
No, listen to this. She did it on her own.
You take him.
No, she didn't. No, I would never. But she did it on her own. And I see you every day. I know you. But then when the photo posed, I was like, wow, who's this boy? Who's this? Who's this?
You know.
On the legacy, it's like, but wait. And I scroll through the photos, it looked like a total different person. Not a different person as in pretty. I mean, that's different. But a different person like...
That's not the person you're accustomed to.
Yeah, that's not the person accustomed to. But my problem with the photos, it was like, it wasn't you. And it has nothing to do with makeup or nothing. But it's just, it didn't look realistic. You understand?
I got you. We have, that, like, look, I'm going to start by saying that photography is an art form. It's an art form. And art is subjective to how you want to accept it and how persons, the artists themselves, project that art. And with that, you are open to criticisms based on how far you take your editing, your style of shoot, what have you. Now, persons, in my opinion, I've seen some works of persons, they over-edit photos, that's one, or they're using the AI technology to do everything for them, including some type of retouching, right? Now, there's a reason why a lot of these things are done manually. There's a reason why my delivery time is what it is. It just can't happen with a click of a finger. This thing takes time. So, with how persons look to use this technology, they have to understand that in IT, this other saying, I think it's still there, Gigo, I think is the phrase. Garbage in, garbage out. So what you as the commander, the person who's inputting whatever language to the computer, you're doing whatever edit, you put in certain values and you let that be the value that you're dealing with forever, like a preset basically. You have all the settings there and you're just stamping that on all your photos going through. It's going to look one way. That's one. And then two, it is not going to look realistic. Every shoot that I do is different. You can't take the same photo. We could turn up here every day at 3 o'clock and this not going to be the same. I not going to be the same. So it requires you to be different in every shoot that you do. Your editing technique needs to be somewhat structured and individualized to that type of shoot that you're doing.
As well.
And realistic. Persons need to have pores. Persons, listen, I do a little body reconstruction when I do edits. I could do a lot of things with edits, but I still try to keep it very close to that of the individual in real life.
Okay, with that said, is that my final question to you? With that said, where do you see photography going in the next, or what do you want to see it going in the next 5 years from now or 3 years from now?
Locally? Or?
Locally, real locally.
Locally. Listen, kudos to all of the photographers in Guyana who I've seen. Persons have been doing very good work, I must admit. I just want to see persons take the time to invest in their craft, invest in the knowledge of this industry, in this business, in their creativity. And I can only see it going forward in the next 3 to 5 years with more superior technology, persons committing themselves to learning about photography and not just picking up a camera. I know a lot of us pick up a camera and we do trial and error, figure it out. But we can only figure it out up to a certain point. I would never say that I'm the complete photographer. There's so much more in photography that I need to learn and I'm willing to learn. But having said that, the knowledge that I've gained so far, the experience that I've gained so far has put me in the position that I am today. And I also like to think that that is the same for a lot of photographers who are already established and those who are up and coming. So in the next 3 to maybe 5 years, I do see us in Guyana especially having a photography industry that is comparative to anywhere in the world. We are already doing that.
Yeah.
We are already doing that.
Is there a photo fest in Guyana, like where photography and the cinematic environment come together and they network and share ideas to better the game?
I wouldn't say that I know of, but I'm aware that there are a few groups that partake in sharing knowledge of photography.
I think we need that in Guyana.
Yeah, we
really need that in Guyana.
Look, like I mentioned before, we are in an industry where we are void of egos in the creative industry. Somebody's not going to reach out to a Darnell for an assistance
because of ego.
Because he feel if I call Darnell or Darnell got to teach me photography, then it's in their mind seems that Darnell is better than me or I given Darnell a 2-stripe more. You know, it's not anything about that. Like I mentioned earlier, my background is in education. So I like to teach. I like to impart knowledge, and it's the reason why I have gone to not just doing photography as a business and as a craft, but as well in teaching photography. And I remembered going to one of my mother's graduation, I think it was for CPC or UG, where I can't remember anything else that was presented by any presenter. I was young, but I remember this and it stuck with me. Those who aspire to teach must never stop aspiring to learn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right?
I learned that already from somewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah, so yeah, just go out there, learn as much as you can learn. I learned from persons who seemingly might be newbies to photography. Yeah, there are a few things I might have learned from them. You can learn from anybody. Just got to be open enough to accept that knowledge from whoever.
Nice. And that has brought me to the end of everything. I mean, we can go on and on.
Yeah, true.
We can go on and on because
especially sipping on some
straight vibes for sure. And and speaking about straight vibes, I had a few of my friends try straight vibes. For example, the other night we were chilling. I said, "Listen, let me go thing called the Andre and the vibes beat this and beat it." And I never see take so much licks there. And a half bottle leave back and
he's licks now though.
Yeah, he's like licks now. And a half bottle leave back and I was like, yo, link the next half. And when I thought I would get a half, I got so much. So, straight vibes is the thing. And guys, straight vibes is distributed by Brydens, Guyana. And it's in 4 flavors. You have the Ramping Shop, you have the Fever, the Unstoppable. And also you have I'm missing one. We have Fever, Unstoppable, Ramping Shop. The answer missing one. Electric. Oh my God. Like top songs. Yeah. But definitely, head over there to Brydens if you want to order it in bulk. You can head over there to Brydens. They are the authorized distributor. And also, Straight Vibes is distributed all the supermarket countrywide. What I want to say, thank you very much for coming through. It was a pleasure to have you here. I want to big up one more person before I go. We're shooting at Stovetop Restaurant and Bar, and they're located on Charlotte Street between Cummins and Orange Walk. And like I mentioned before, closer to Cummins. And you can definitely come through to check their Creole menu. Trust me, tasty. Tasty. I live here every day. I live here every day. But
belly getting big.
No, this is actually the new sexy. Can't do the answer. That is like the new sexy. So I got that from him. So I want to make up my team. Shout out to DeAndre. He's the road manager, TabooTalk. I want to shout out to Dason. Dason is the content engineer. And with my team, we promise to give you great content. I want to shout out to Nigel, video guy. And with my team, we promise to give you original content, real content. And with that said, when it comes to TabooTalk, we wanna be real, want to be unfiltered, but we want to still shed light on things that person are scared to talk about, So I actually have a next segment coming up. It's going to be really nice. This is going to be episode 3, and I don't want you to miss this one because we're getting into abuse. Someone who's been abused, someone who's been raped, someone who went through depression for at least 5 years. That's a very sensitive topic. Yeah. So, with TabooTalk, we're going to deliver. We're going to give you the best. So until next time, join us again for episode 3. Sponsored by Straight Vybz, distributed by Brydens, Guyana. I'm out.
What's poppin'? Ready to hear the unfiltered truth? Then don't miss Taboo Talk with Deejay Alridge, the podcast where no topic is off limits.